G'day guys, Mac with the Hour Circle. Well, if you're here, you want to hear me talk about a new edition of Warhammer 40,000. And you might be here to hear me talk about price rises. Look, at the time of recording, I put up a video expressing what I thought of the video trailer. And it was a little 1 minute long clip, just expressing how I looked at that trailer and I was like, what the fuck am I watching? Because it looked kind of like a Dawn of War trailer, not a Warhammer 40,000 trailer. And this, I don't know, just weird little things stood out to me. Nothing ruins it for me, but there's nothing that I can latch onto and go, oh, I really like that. The Grimdark was there, but it wasn't. I don't know. Sometimes you just end up with a situation where you can't actually describe how you feel about something. And I'm watching it, and I notice little things. I'm like, okay, trailers spends the first 2/3 focusing entirely on female characters. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's just something I noticed. But that seemed odd, because we're introduced to a female guardsman, two male guardsmen who straight off the bat are just killed. And they disintegrate away. And it's like, here's this really dark tone, which, in theory, I'm all for. I mean, it is the grim dark of 40k. Of, like, flesh dissolving away from bones. But it's kind of hidden by the effect as well. But then I'm thinking, the same kids who go onto the Warhammer community site and see, you know, these cartoonish images like this, are watching a reveal trailer of someone's skin melting off their body. I don't know. It seems like a weird, conflicting clash of tones. So that's the first thing that stood out to me. Then we sort of followed this Sister of Battle through the trailer who, I don't know how she survives to end up in the church, but she does, and then a whole bunch of Marines appear, and is it a chainsword reveal? Is that what the trailer's really telling us? That chainswords are back? They never left? I mean, Primaris never got a unit of them, but they've had them on lieutenants. Chaos had them. I don't know. Anyway, it was this weird tonal inconsistency in this trailer. I don't care if there's Sisters of Battle. I don't care if it's full of Space Marines. I mean, they've got more of this old school sort of heraldry starting to go on, which is, you know, promising. Yeah, I like the little shield addition onto the armor with the heraldry, but I guess it's nice to see Primaris starting to look more like the space knight / monks they used to be. Not so sure I like the shield with the human skeleton on it, especially because the skeleton is completely out of proportion with the Marine, unless it's a Marine skeleton, and, well, it can't be because the ribs are all wrong, and the first thing that hits the shield is just kind of pulverize the skeleton, so none of that makes sense. I'm thinking too much into it, honestly. And then I got to this part at the end, and it was this part that made me write the little spoof video I did, where I just cut-pasted a few different clips together because I thought it was funny. Here you have the Scorpion King. You know, obviously the Necrons are taking a slightly new direction where they've got a bit more Spider-Bot going on. I'm not against it per se, but I always pictured the Necrons as more like the future war sequences from Terminator 2, and that was very much like the Dawn of War video game trailer that we got way back in the day, where the Necrons are just walking in long lines across the open fields shooting their Gauss weapons. And then we get to this, and there's sort of these rapid assault mech sort of style Necron. I don't know, it's just different. Now, am I saying I hate it? No, I don't like it either. I'm completely indifferent is the point I'm getting to. Normally a trailer like this, if it was done, I don't know, like Diablo 2 style or something, I'd be like, oh wow, that was really cool what I watched. You know, or StarCraft. This one I'm like, okay, what am I meant to be taking away from this? And the answer was nothing. Because it's not telling me there's a new 40k, it's just telling me that there's Necrons, Sisters of Battle, and Space Marines, and some Imperial Guard getting melted, I guess. That's it. Maybe because some of these Marines have chainswords, that's telling me something, but overall, the trailer is not actually telling me or informing me of anything of note about the game itself. And I think that's probably my biggest complaint with it, if I have to pick a complaint. It's telling me nothing, it's teaching me nothing, therefore it's kind of irrelevant. It's just a neat little thing, I guess, to have. Okay, whatever. So, chainswords are back, there's a little trailer, and we get to see a Primaris with a chainsword. Again, there are Primaris with swords and such out there, and I guess we're supposed to be very thrilled that there's a new Space Marine with a chainsword. Whatever. I'm indifferent. And we get to see some new Necron warriors. I don't hate them. I don't know. I don't like them, but I don't hate them. Again, it's that indifference. I mean, I like Necrons. It looks more like, as you look at these models, that they're very much a ruined Necron. So instead of being a being that is being maintained and upkept by the tomb spiders and the scarabs over time, they've degraded whilst they've been in the ground, these Necrons. And so their armour is pitted and falling apart, but that makes no sense because the material they're made from is, it's meant to be this weird futuristic material that doesn't corrode and stuff, and none of that makes sense. So they might be taking a slightly new design direction with them, and obviously the underskeleton on these guys looks exactly like a humanoid skeleton, as opposed to just being like a Terminator. A bunch of machine pistons with armor plating on the outside. Now they're like bones, which are being clad in some sort of alloy on the outside, which is different. Again, don't hate it, just don't feel anything for it. I mean, I think the guns are an improvement. I like that style that they brought in on the 5th edition Necrons with these sort of circle and line motifs in the Gauss weapon. Yeah, I like that. The faces, I think I like them less than the old Necrons, and I'm not sure why. Maybe the forehead to chin ratio. They're fine. They're fine. These are all fine. New Warhammer 40,000 series by fan favourite Guy Haley. I wouldn't go as far as calling him that. I'd say he's a writer, though. Apparently they've been playtesting new rules. Okay. Again, the clash of art styles is intriguing. What more is there to say? Oh, yeah, sort of reveal for the Silent King. Looks like he has some Necron Satan shard that he's torturing or containing, or I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I'm more interested in seeing the actual model than trailers of his arm or his leg. Like, you're not telling me of anything of note there. I mean, I get the whole point of a trailer is to get you hyped up for something. Well, telling us the Silent King is coming back was the trailer. This is the trailer for the trailer. So, obviously, my overall opinion right now is, let's see. I'm not wild. Nothing is making me go, I need to buy this new edition. So, what might do that is this FAQ they put out, which I haven't read yet. So, you're reading this with me. So, a new 40k, That's right, this is an exciting time for Warhammer 40,000 fans. There's a new edition on the way with updates and refinements to the core rules of the game, not to mention exciting developments in the ongoing narrative of the 41st millennium. And of course, loads of amazing new Citadel miniatures. If you're already a fan, you have some awesome stuff to look forward to. If you're just taking your first steps into Warhammer 40,000, you picked a great time to start. Okay, so new edition, refinements to the core rules. That means they're going to keep most of the rules that exist now, is my take on that. Which means there might be some backwards compatibility. Why have you done another edition of the game? We are always looking to make our games the best they can be. The last edition of Warhammer 40,000 saw a new game rebuilt from the ground up. This edition is an evolution of that revolutionary design. Okay. Taking on board 3 years of player feedback and making this incarnation of the game the best edition yet. As well as that, we've taken the opportunity to explore more of the changing face of the galaxy and introduce some exciting developments to the narrative of Warhammer 40,000. Okay. I'm cautiously optimistic. I mean, I've been saying it, well, literally the last main video I put out about the condition of the background of the universe, the background lore, and how it's a bit of a clusterfuck. You can come back from that, but I mean, all they're saying is they're changing it. I mean, changing doesn't mean making it better, it just means changed. So, cautiously optimistic, we'll say. What's changed in the rules? Loads! A new edition gives us a chance to look at the core rules of Warhammer 40,000 and make changes to the underlying engine. We've looked at every phase in the game as well as missions, points and stratagems. You'll see that affect every army in every game. You'll see changes that affect every army in every game, sorry. We'll be exploring many of these changes in detail over the coming weeks in articles over on warhammercommunity.com. Has the setting or lore changed? The past 3 years have already seen some huge changes to the shape of the galaxy that will have literally redrawn the map. This new edition will see some equally seismic developments as we explore more of the galaxy and rising threats to the Imperium. Yeah, okay. See, it makes me think of something I noticed in the trailer, which is, if you look at the Dawn of War trailers, you don't know who's the good guy or the bad guy, just there are people fighting. When the Marines kill the Eldar at the start of Dawn of War 2, the Eldar are like, no, you've made a mistake, and they point to this hive fleet appearing in the skies above. And the Marines sort of, oh shit. The feeling I get looking at this new trailer, and Necron's bad, Imperium good, is what I get from it. I don't get backwards Imperium that its own citizens are possibly more afraid of than the enemy. And I read that in this line as well. Rising threats to the Imperium. As I covered in the lore video, it's not just about the Imperium. There are other races, orcs, Tyranids, that kind of thing. And yes, they are all threats to the Imperium. They should all be taking big chunks out of the Imperium. But they should also be taking big chunks out of one another. And so, the story is not a story of the state of the Imperium as such. The Imperium is just the fabric around which the galaxy revolves. And the story of 40k to me has always been how, in the far future, things are so fucked that all anyone from any race ever knows is war, essentially. Now, there's always an exception to that, some rich person on a faraway hive world, I don't care. Point is, it's in the name. The grim darkness of the far future is only war. And yet, what we're being shown is the Space Marine Sisters of Battle are these heroic saviors against the evil Necrons, is what that trailer showed. And it's very much the direction that the stories have been going in for a while now. It's almost a hopeful Imperium, like the last beacon of light, as it were, to save the galaxy. But the galaxy doesn't need saving by the Imperium. It needs to be saved from the Imperium. That's just my take on it. Alright, will there be new models? Heck yes. So many cool new models. Necrons in particular are in for a good year, and that's only the start. Yeah, I mean, if I was to collect a new 40k army, if it wasn't Chaos, it'd be Necrons. I did have an army back in 3rd edition, and I enjoyed them, but they left such a bitter taste in my mouth in 5th edition, I haven't touched them since. Wait 1 second, is that a new logo? Good spot. Ain't it cool? We're sorry if it invalidates your tattoo. On the other hand, congratulations, now it's vintage body art. Why is the R hanging over the side of... Yeah, okay, graphics department fucked up there. Alright, can I still use my army? You betcha. Your current army will still be usable in the new edition of Warhammer 40,000. I would put a little asterisk on that, because I've been around since 2nd edition, guys, and yeah, you can probably still use your models, but your army's never quite your army when a new edition comes along, usually, unless you're Space Marines, in which case you're fine. Of course, as we mentioned above, there are loads of cool changes to the rules, so a whole raft of new tactical challenges and opportunities await. If 8th edition core rules are still the foundation this is built upon, there will be no tactical challenge. Not to be that guy, but the game entirely revolves around who gets to shoot the most guns first, and who can put the most characters in the middle of their blobbed up army to get the most buffs and auras off across as many models as possible. That's not tactical. But if they change that, I will give them the credit. Alright, how can I get the rules? We're going to make it easy to get your hands on the new rules and start playing. The core rules for the game will be free. And you'll have several options on how you get your hands on the full rulebook. So core rules, the 2 pages of move, shoot, fire, basically, that you can't really play the game with. But if you buy 3 Space Marine Primaris models and, 4 Necron or 5 Necron Warrior models in some sort of really shitty little starter box, that's the amount of core rules you're going to get your hands on, basically. It might have a mission, but it's not going to have, full-on picking warlord traits and using command points and stuff like that. No. That's all considered advanced rules. I mean, it's stuff you'll use in any regular game of 40k that you play, but when they say free rules, that needs a lot of quotation marks around it, okay? You'll get 2 pages. And it will be the most bare bones, basic version of the game that allows you to move models, shoot models, assault models, and kill models. And that will be the entire crux of it. It will be very simplified. So, if I'm wrong on this, please call me on it. Tell me that I'm an idiot if it turns out that they actually release the rules and it's a full-on huge set of rules, like 10 pages, 12 pages. It's all free, and you can take that rules that they release, put it with your existing codex, and play in full-on competitions. But I highly doubt it. So what happens to my codexes? Good news, all your codexes still work, as do campaign expansions like the Vigilus series, Psychic Awakening, and White Dwarf supplements. Okay, so that goes on to the next paragraph. What about the Psychic Awakening books? Again, these all still work. The rules in these supplements were written with the new edition in mind, so you can continue to use the rules in them for your games. So that means that the core foundation of the game can't be changing a huge amount. That's the lesson I pull from that. In order for previous books and such to work, obviously there still have to be some form of FAQ to clarify some things, but obviously the foundation there is basically identical to 8th edition. I think is the key takeaway here. What about my Forge World Index books? These will be changing. Look out for a new range of books to support the Warhammer 40,000 Forge World offer soon after the release of the new edition. I think it's at the point where they should just be giving these things for free to people. How many indexes, codexes, chapter approved, that kind of thing have we gone through in the last 3 years? Like, how many books would you have to buy to play, say, Space Marines? Or could have bought? 5? 6? Including Psychic Awakening? 6? Off the top of my head? To play Space Marines over the last couple of years? And these are codexes where units are in one book, they're not in the next, and so you need to combine both books together in order to get full access to the variety of units for your army. Doesn't fill me with positivity. Okay? Are unit points going to change? Yes, a new edition gives us an opportunity to reset the balance of power across the whole game. Expect to see a lot of points changes in armies. Some for balance purposes and some to reflect the increased efficiency of units and units that become more powerful with the changes to core rules. So I can't use the existing codex if I was an 8th edition player. The book is ornamental. Now, again, this is something I want to point out they've been doing since the dawn of time. Dawn of time game-wise, that is. They release a new edition and it invalidates everything you owned before. The problem is a codex back in 1999 was $20. Well, a codex now is $100. And you've probably gone through 6 of them, as I said, if you're playing Space Marines, or 6 books to some extent. You know, your index, your codex, your chapter approved, your psychic campaign, all that kind of stuff. Whereas back in 3rd ed, if I wanted to play Space Marines, I bought the 3rd edition Space Marine Codex for $19.50. And yeah, it got invalidated come 4th edition, but it was good for the whole of that edition. Whereas I've now spent, probably $300 at a guess, maybe more, if I was playing 8th edition Space Marines in order to get my full army, rules-wise, this edition. So, my problem here is that wages haven't gone up anywhere near as fast as the cost of these products has. And I think we're kind of at the point where it's like, you've got to now start giving people this shit for free, Games Workshop. Because that's too much money. You're outstripping the pace that people are earning money at by so much that I can't see a future for the paper books at the rate you're going, except for those who are truly committed to buying just everything. Anyway, what's this we're hearing about Crusade? We're glad you asked, because we're proper excited about it. Crusade is a new system for narrative play that will allow you to interact with your Warhammer 40,000 collection on a deeper, more meaningful way. If you love the lore of Warhammer 40,000 narrative in your games, campaigns, meaningful battles, and content army to a theme, you're going to love Crusade. I'm going to guess there's some sort of maybe phone app, something like that, that allows some sort of mutual participation thing. That's my guess. There might also be some sort of bonuses or rewards to characters played over a campaign. That might be their little narrative thumbs up. Nice website. Thanks for noticing. Yes, there is a new Warhammer 40,000 website that will host loads of useful content. It is a website designed with new players in mind, but there will be resources there for all fans of 40k. Very soon there will be tutorial guides on how to play, introductions to the vast lore of the 41st millennium, and of course the new cinematic trailer for Warhammer 40,000. The Warhammer website is terrible, and I don't know why they keep propping it up. The website they had 5 years ago was really good. It was a much easier site to navigate than it is now because, well, the names were easier for a start. But the way the drop boxes worked, the way you're able to zoom in on models and such, I just preferred it. Everyone I know preferred it. Now, it's a lot harder to navigate through because everything is done by ticking little boxes. You have to really refine your search down through that, or type in the exact name of what you want. I don't know, just a niggly. Website design is one of those things that is different in the eye of every beholder. But personally, yeah, I prefer the 5-year-old design. New cinematic trailer, yeah, it was not awesome. Why should I not just stick with current Warhammer 40,000? You can play any edition you like, knock yourself out. You can even join Crazy Anthony in his lead miniatures only Rogue Trader campaign. We do think, though, that this edition is the best yet. You say that every edition, and you're wrong every edition. Fuck. And it might be easier to find an opponent this way. And it might be easier to find an opponent this way is like saying, hey, look, you're not going to be able to play in our stores unless you play this edition. Okay. Will the rules be updated through chapter approved? The new core rules of Warhammer 40,000 will be with us for a little while yet, but yes. With new units and books released all the time, we will still be looking at a game regularly with an eye to balance. Particularly in match play, publishing updates in chapter approved. Match play. I think I've said it before. Match play can't be done with Warhammer. It is too big and too sprawling. And what I noticed is if I go to where there's a tournament held, and I look around, I see a lot of the exact same faction built the exact same way, because the meta, as it were, has a way of everyone being funneled in a specific direction. There will always be those who play at tournaments, but they have their preferred army, or maybe they can't afford to go and buy a new army, or what have you, but those who can afford it, when it comes to tournament play, they will go for what is the current best thing, and they build their armies the exact same way. The fact is that the game is too big and too sprawling with, 3,000 products or something currently? 40,000 is probably a third of that. How do you balance that many units? And I don't mean perfect balance. Even chess has its moments of not being balanced. And that if, something like chess is hard to balance, the more and more and more you add to 40k, the harder your job's getting. And I think it's a fool's errand to try and think you can balance this game. Now, you can achieve some rough semblance of balance, yes. But again, something like the Horus Heresy does that much better, because a lot of the armies start off the same sort of platform. Being all Imperial factions, they have access to a lot of similar war gear and such. It allows you to calculate the points more efficiently. Whether it's Space Marines, whether it's Imperial Guard equivalent, such as Imperial Militia, Solar Auxilia, Mechanicum, whatever. They use a lot of the same weapons, the same plasma pistols, the same Volkite weapons, the same bolt guns. Makes it a lot easier to balance than adding in a lot of Xenos weapons and Xenos races, and especially with the way that characters generate auras in 40k. I think it's too much to try and balance, and I'm not going to discourage attempts to try, because the more balance you make something, the better, but you're fighting an uphill battle on Mount Everest. I haven't played 40k in a while. Welcome back. The new Warhammer 40,000 is easy to learn, quick to play, and more accessible than ever, with the tactical, strategic, and narrative depth to reflect the incredibly rich... It's the strategic and narrative depth of a fucking puddle, compared to previous editions. So that's pure bullshit. But I do agree it is easy to learn and quick to play. What's in the new box game? Who said anything about a new box game? That sure would be exciting. Oh, fuck me. Yeah, I hate that. What happens to Dark Imperium? Dark Imperium set will be retired pretty soon. If you want it, you don't have that long to grab one. So that's just confirmation there is a new box set right there. Where will I be able to buy it? You'll be able to pick up your copy of the new Warhammer 40,000 from all the places you usually would. Online, in your local Warhammer store, or from your local independent retailer. So, obviously region locked, so Australians you can only buy from Australia at a 40% increase over the UK costs. Copyright Games Workshop 2020. Why are you doing this so soon after Psychic Awakening? As many of you picked up on, the Psychic Awakening has been building up to some major changes in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. The new edition sees them come to pass, with the return of a long-forgotten evil and some big developments in the lore. From a rules perspective, all of the Psychic Awakening books are fully compatible with the new edition and were written with that in mind. Okay, first thing, the Silent King is not a long-forgotten evil. He's not evil. He is self-serving, but he's not evil. He's spent his time in the void looking at the threats to the current galaxy, such as the Tyranids, and acting upon that, and brokering alliances with things like the Blood Angels in order to combat them. He is not evil. This is a person who doesn't understand their own universe. But, considering Games Workshop doesn't give a flying fuck about canon, they will just change it to suit their means, and the Silent King will probably be the most evil thing since evil was invented. As for it coming out straight after Psychic Awakening, they've been doing this since 7th edition. I complained about it then, I'll complain about it now. It was the Thousand Suns Return, the Gathering Storm, all this kind of thing. These books don't get any time to breathe before they move on to the next thing, and it invalidates what's come before. And they're saying, oh no, the Psychic Awakening books are fully compatible with the new edition. Well, how can they be if you're going to be adjusting core rules and unit points costs and things like that? Obviously there's going to be some FAQing here and some give and take. The inherent value of the book, in my mind, is therefore going to be reduced, but it didn't stop you selling it at full price up until the last minute. What happens to Kill Team? Absolutely nothing. It's still there and it's still great. Kill Team is its own rule set, so it isn't affected by changes to the main Warhammer 40,000 game. However, with new additions come new models, and several of these will be infiltrating their way into kill zones in the near future. and the far future. Hey, good pun. Will the core rules still be available for free? Yes, the basic rules primer for the new edition will be available to download for free, just as with the current edition. For the new rules in full, you'll want to get a copy of the new Warhammer 40,000 rulebook, which will be very fucking expensive. And the new Crusade system for narrative play. What languages will the new Warhammer 40,000 be launched in? All the normal ones. Are there still non-Primaris Space Marines? Yes, they're right where you left them and they can still be used in the game just as you can today. Over there on the dusty shelf in the corner, don't look at those, please buy Primaris. I love it, I want it, when can I have it? Really soon, we're just a few weeks off just yet, but we wanted to give you a bit of a heads up so you could get ready, and because we're excited to keep the news to ourselves any longer. We'll let you know when we have more news on an exact release date. Where can I find out more? Well, we'll be running articles on Warhammer Community. So, overall, what do I think? I want to know what they're doing with the background setting. Are they going to reintroduce things like armor facings on the vehicles? Are they going to reduce the buffing auras of characters? If they don't change these particular things, I won't be interested in the game. But that doesn't mean you can't be, because maybe those things don't mean jack shit to you. And so you look at it and you're like, I think this game is perfectly good. I like the way 8th edition works. I don't care about the things you complain about, Macca. That is all perfectly fine. Go for it. Fill your boots. Go out, buy 8 copies. I don't care. For me personally, what I want to see in the new edition is I want to see the game. Well, I want to see it tread some actual new ground, obviously, with the background lore. They have to make it better. They have to make it decent. The Horus Heresy is so good for so long. There's a lot of frayed strings there, won't lie. It's come apart in the last few years, but that's my golden standard. As is sort of everything that happened up till 6th edition, bordering on 7th, even into 7th edition. There's a lot of really good fluff from sort of 2nd ed right through to then. It's all been turned on its head in the last couple of years. So, okay, all those things are good. Jeez. Price rises. Look, if you're still buying this product, you don't care they're doing a price rise. Let's be honest. They're a company, they can do whatever they like. Do I think it's a faulty move to pull a price rise straight after a global pandemic? Yeah. A lot of people are unemployed, or their incomes have been hurt in some way, or prices have risen on essential commodities during this time, things that you need to spend your money on that are not Warhammer. But at the end of the day, fans of the game are going to buy whether or not it's in their best interest financially. I mean, there are people who don't pay their rent because they're more concerned about buying models, and then they put their models up for sale a week after buying them brand new in box still at discounted price because they went out, they were full of hype, and they foolishly paid for a bunch of models they couldn't actually afford. And that's really sad. Look, the most egregious thing they did was 2 years ago when they decided to do a price rise which region locked all Forge World's pricing and increased overnight the cost of products by 40 to 60% worldwide, and provided zero better service for it. And they say, it's for better service, faster shipping, and then we noticed a lot of these packages were actually coming with Made in China written on the packages as well, and these are Forge World products. Direct from the manufacturer. There's pictures of it all over the internet. I'm sure you don't need me to post them up right now, and even if I did, you'll probably just say, that's an outlier, or we don't believe you, or whatever, which is what happened when I broke the story last time. So, you're either in or you're out when it comes to Warhammer at the moment. If you accept the prices, you're in. Great. You don't need me to say what's good or bad. I can't change your mind. You've accepted it. If you're out, okay, you've decided that it's too much, you can't afford it, or whatever. Okay, fine. Is it right? No. It's morally, ethically wrong. But perfectly legal. So, it's up to them. I don't know what to say. I've put out that much evidence about where the price gouging takes place, how much these products actually cost, where you're being ripped off. At the same time, this is people's jobs and livelihoods who work for the company, and I don't want to say don't support them if you like the product. But don't let yourself go for a free ride either, and just give them all your money. Think about your decisions. Look at this new edition. Watch it get play tested and ignore the hype. Don't go watching all these channels that go get given a free box and then turn around and go, this game is fantastic. Oh man, this model's so cool. I can't wait to get my hands on this box set myself. Don't watch those videos. Those videos are not giving you actual information. This channel gives you actual information where possible, and a lot of my fucking opinion. And a lot of my opinion is, here's what I like and don't like, and why. But at least the one thing I don't do is I don't lie to you. And I will say, hey look, I like this, I don't like this. Here's credit for this, here's a real slap on the wrist for this. And I'll be honest. And there are a lot of people out there who are like me. You've just got to find them. You need to find the people who give you the ins and outs of the edition, and they don't tell you what they think about it, they just give you the blunt, this does this, does this. That's the sort of review you need. You don't need an impassioned person talking about how cool the new model range is and how they can't wait to buy 10. No. And when you do decide, fuck yeah, I want to buy this game, don't. I'm not saying don't ever, just sit on it for a week or two. Sit on it for a week or two and decide for yourself, do I really want this game? Is it really worth it? Is it just the hype that I'm buying into? Watch, wait, see how the rules play out, figure out if it's for you, and then by all means go ahead and do it. But don't you dare just be a pawn who works all this time, works their ass off in some shit job that you don't really enjoy, just to pay the bills, just to hand that money over to Games Workshop because of 2 seconds of hype tricking you into it. Please don't do that. Anyway, I'm Mac with the Outer Circle. I hope someone somewhere found this informative. And as I said, total indifference. I want to see what they do with it first. I hope I've cut through a lot of the jargon in their FAQ and the bullshit, and broke it down to what it means in black and white. See you all next time.